It's 8 p.m. in Banjul, and this is GRTS News. First, the top of our stories. The Vice President joins fellow African leaders for the 30th Ordinary Session of the African Union Summit. The new head of the Gambia's Catholic Church, Reverend Bishop Gabriel Mendy, says his appointment marks an important moment for the Catholic community. Residents of Cape Town protest against alleged mismanagement of water resources amid ongoing water crisis. And the African Union plans an extraordinary summit in Rwanda to sign the legal instruments to establish the continental free trade. These and many more coming ahead in this hour. I am Isa Jaro. The Vice President, Aja Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang, has taken part in the 30th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Governments of the African Union in Addis Ababa. The summit focuses on the continent's resolve to fight corruption. Khadija Jallow reports.
Presence of African leaders at this summit to discuss the dangers of corruption to development speak volumes on the new ideas for African emancipation. The Gambia, which has also been doing everything possible to fight corruption, was not left out of deliberations at the 30th AU summit that began on Sunday in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Vice President Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang, who stood in for President Adama Barrow, was in full agreement with her colleagues that the continent has been raped by corrupt officials in both public and private sectors, and urged member states to have a more focused approach in resolving conflicts on this continent. Looking at the experience of the Gambia in the immediate past, the Vice President, like other African leaders, believes that the continent stands to greatly benefit from the new initiative by the African Union. The chairperson of the African Union Commission, Musa Faki Muhammad, said the past years have seen the continent face major challenges such as terrorism, hunger and climate change.
This particularity of the international context is compounded by violence, which is a reality which is afflicting millions of Africans in the different areas of conflict. To this we add the rise of the scourge of terrorism, which continues to ravage the Lake Chad Basin, the Sahel and the Horn of Africa.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres highlighted the need for combating corruption, particularly in tax evasion and illicit financial flows, in order to improve the lives of Africans and stop the growing problem of illegal migration.
I stand here on behalf of the United Nations system and reaffirm our strong commitment to the member states and the people of Africa. I strongly believe Africa is one of the greatest forces for good in our world. Excellencies, as we move forward together, I see 5 areas for strengthened partnership. First, peace and security. Let me begin by thanking African governments for leading the way in contributing troops and police to help save lives and keep the peace around the world.
Receiving the mantle of leadership from the outgoing chairperson of the AU, President Alpha Conde of Guinea-Conakry, Rwandan President Paul Kagame paid tribute to the founding fathers of the African Union who paved the way forward. He said the time for new thinking is here.
We are running out of time, and we must act now to save Africa from permanent deprivation. Scale is essential. We must create a single continental market, integrate our infrastructure, and infuse our economies with technology. No country or region can manage on its own. We have to be functional, and we have to stay together. The financial and institutional reform of the African Union derives all of its urgency from these realities.
The opening ceremony of the 30th Ordinary Session of the AU Summit in Addis Ababa featured inspiring speeches from key stakeholders in the continent geared towards effecting positive change for a better future for Africa and its people. Awards were also presented to countries and outstanding personalities for contributing to the success of key undertakings in their countries and the continent at large. Khadija Diallo, reporting from Addis Ababa for GRTS News.
The former Executive Director Operation Save the Children Foundation, Fatou Mas Job Njai, and the Principal Registrar of the High Court, Mariama Sisi Group, were among the latest to appear before the Janneh Commission. Suma Jadama was there for us.
Which is exposing multiples of alleged financial malpractices committed by Jammeh and his close associates. Summoned the former CEO Operation Save the Children Foundation, Fatou Mas Job Njai, to adequately explain the thousands of United States dollars she transferred to different Moroccan companies.
Yes, what was the reason?
The reason was
$130,000.
for leasing of. The reason was for leasing of equipment from Morocco to Gambia. The reason why this dinner was hosted was because we were expecting a very important guest to visit the Gambia from the 25th to the 26th of October, and I have explained that in detail. Now, she deemed it necessary to contact these people to lease all the equipment that we use.
What equipment? What equipment?
You have the tables, the chairs, the musical equipment, and I have provided you with a DVD.
Sorry? The table, the chairs?
Tables, chairs, musical instrument. I've provided you with a DVD about the dinner to show you exactly what type of equipments were leased from these people. There's a DVD attached. Yeah.
Okay, just add it to that folder.
It is already there, ma'am.
Yeah, you spent $130,000.
In fact, the total bill,
$60,000.
the total bill is about $400,000. These were all part payments. We could not finish the payment because we did not have money.
Submitted exhibits and testimonies read by Mrs. Njai featured the names of Zainab Yahya Jammeh and Isaac Njai Sedi as signatories to the foundation account at both Trust Bank and Guaranty Trust Bank Gambia Limited.
Yeah, can you tell us what monies were being put into Trust Bank and what monies into Guaranty Trust Bank?
Like I said, the Trust Bank account was opened before my time.
During your time, what money?
During my time, all the funds that went to the Guaranteed Trust Bank accounts were related to donations or pledges that were made. And in October, during the fundraising gala dinner, we sold tables. And it was not compulsory for anybody to buy a table. It was for a worthy cause, and there was a reason why that dinner was actually held. And I've explained that in details in my report.
The appearance of Mariama Sisembu, the Principal Registrar High Court of the Gambia, was a brief one as she was only asked to submit the High Court case files involving Baba Job and Ansumana Jammeh.
What is the case file you have? What case?
I have the case file 11 of 2003, the state Baba Job and two others.
What are the names of the two others?
Baba Kante, Youth Development Enterprise Limited.
What is the case file?
It's HC number 222.
Is it a criminal matter?
It is a criminal matter, ma.
So it's criminal case number?
It's criminal case number HC 222/16.
16?
Yes. /CR 075 AO.
Chapter To fulfillment. It's a very solemn celebration. The ordination of a bishop is a special ceremony or celebration in the church. There will be a lot of visitors in there, and it will be a well-celebrated mass. I have no doubt about that. Myself, I'll be ordained that day as the Catholic bishop of the diocese. And it's a day that, you receive the fullness of the priesthood through the laying on of hands. That is the most important part of that celebration, and the prayer of consecration that goes with it. So it's going to be a very solemn celebration, a very joyful one, and a prayerful one for us all. It's a special day.
That was Reverend Gabriel Mendy speaking to GRTS. Officials of the Central Bank of the Gambia were at the National Assembly for the latest round of the Finance and Public Accounts Committee sittings. As indicated reports.
We expect here is the responses they raised to the queries for 2016. That's all. From Central Bank, yeah, nothing else. And that's not verbal response. Those are written response point by point.
That was supposed to be the center of discussion. As the Central Bank appears at the National Assembly chambers for the third time. The bank's compliance rate was calculated at 76% following a report and recommendation made by the GPPA, which underlined that CBG was essentially compliant as per its recommendations. But
the response that was sent from the Central Bank was not reviewed by the management. It was not reviewed by the management. It was taken to a unit head who responded to the queries of the GPPA, which is not in line, without the knowledge of the management. So we have asked them to go back as an institution to respond to the queries made by GPPA on their observations.
As per expectations, the Central Bank of the Gambia was supposed to appear and respond to recommendations made.
So I think what we can go page by page, we can give our responses because we know what to.
Yet, this was perceived as unofficial, and members of the FPAC committee were never willing to listen to any verbal response unless officially delivered.
It needs to be properly documented.
The issue is procedural. A document was submitted last week, and the governor was surprised that one of the juniors had sent a reply to the queries. The question is, as a committee, you would not entertain verbal reaction, reply to this, and then we can proceed therefrom. Because right now, we are going in circles.
Sittings were adjourned to give time to CBG officials to restructure and put their house in order as they look towards another rendezvous with lawmakers who expect the National Bank to emerge with an official document as expected. After assembly session and lawmakers are looking set, new legislative standards meant to inject more efficiency, accountability and transparency in public institutions. For GRTS News, I am Aissatou Keita.
Stakeholders in the agriculture sector have ended a nationwide sensitization tour which was aimed to raise awareness of farmers and local authorities on the fall armyworm and its mode of prevention and control. The campaign dubbed Empowering Farmers to Combat the Fall Armyworm was organized by the Department of Agriculture and partners. Marama Balde reports.
Agriculture experts say the pest destroys maize, rice, sorghum and millet. Farmers in the Central River region said the pest has caused low crop yield and retard growth this year.
This worm that just come, we are very afraid because this worm destroys everything. So government should look at how best to help us to fight this worm. Wherever I see this worm, I report it to Agriculture Extension. This worm destroys our living.
In a meeting at Passenger Choice Weekly Sales Market, locally called Lumo, the campaign coordinator from the FAO, Dr. Mustafa Sise, noted that experts in the food and agriculture sector continue to galvanize efforts to control the prevalence of the pest since its discovery in the country in 2017.
The approach that FAO is taking is to ensure an integrated pest management approach, which has several intrinsic elements in it. One is best practices, best agronomic practices, use of improved maize varieties, use of biological control measures, and use of plant extracts, and minimum use of chemical pesticides as a last resort.
The move, Dr. Sise added, will enhance food security and sustainable development. The technical assistant of the campaign group, Dr. Fai Mane, advised farmers against late planting of crops to avoid infection by the insect. Alaji Gay from the Plant Protection Services urged farmers to be mindful of inappropriate use of pesticides, which can have adverse effects on agricultural products, human health and the environment.
Pesticides are very toxic to humans and natural enemies. All pesticides are expensive, and some pesticides don't kill the fall armyworm. And as a result, we are advocating for the use of IPM, which is Integrated Pest Management Approach. IPM is an approach that we can employ. This is because IPM is designed in such a way that it can limit the use of hazardous pesticides.
He urged farmers to always consult agricultural officers for recommended pesticides. The Alkalulo of Fast Nega Choi, Alaji Wali Juve, lauded the initiative while calling for more agricultural extension workers to be stationed in the rural areas. Reporting for the news, I am Mariama Balde.
This week on Face the Nation GRTS, we will focus on the frequency of fire outbreaks in the Gambia. What are the causes? What are the measures needed to reduce fire outbreaks? And what can be done to help victims? To find out, join us on GRTS on Face the Nation program on Thursday. The recording will take place on the 1st of February at the GRTS main building on India Road. Officials of fire service will join the discussion. All are invited. A group of tourists from different countries under the name of Global Grooves are in the country to take part in the Katong Carnival Festival. The aim of the program is to share culture and learn from each other. Seydou Camara has more in this report.
The group of artists and tourists from different countries arrived in the Gambia to participate in the much-awaited Katong Cultural Carnival. Team head Leon said they are in the Gambia to learn and share cultures, with many in the group dedicated their lives to artistic work, which produces some of the best festival art in the world.
And we're here to join the festival, so we're going to be making some carnival happen in our own way. So we're going to be celebrating different cultures that we work with in England, so dancing, drumming, and making masquerade. So all sorts of different things are going to happen. We're hoping to share some of our kind of knowledge and our artistic skills with artists of the Gambia, and hopefully make something special and unique.
It's going to be a great experience of presenting what we do at home in the UK here, because it's a very different kind of feel probably to what maybe happens traditionally here, but I think it's all inspired by different carnivals and cultures from around the world, so it'd be really nice to make some of those connections and actually see some of what we do and the origins of some of the work that we're all interested in as well.
Freya Bennett is a producer and a dancer visiting the Gambia for the first time. She expressed delight in coming to the Smiling Coast and outlined her readiness to exchange ideas with Gambian producers.
Well, I'm actually going to be taking part in a lot of the dance workshops and stuff as well. So I think I'm really excited to get involved with like the community workshops and things like that, seeing their styles and like seeing them perform as well, and taking bits of how they actually perform and stuff like that.
Organizers of the Cartoon Festival explained preparation been made to make the week-long event a huge success.
They're looking forward to Cartoon, and then as of now, Cartoon, everybody is looking forward to the group at the moment. Seriously, and there's a big, gathering in Cartoon waiting for the group today. And yeah, honestly, everybody is looking forward to the group.
They're gonna do work with some of the artists within the community. So most of them will know a lot of things about the Gambian culture and Gambian artists. So for them to stay there, they're gonna stay with work with local people, the children, men and women, so they're gonna experience a lot.
At National Center for Art and Culture, officers have been working to support cultural festivals and use them to model Gambian traditions. The NCAC Director of Creative Art and Expressions, Sir Umar Jalom, highlighted the importance of festival in promoting and preserving cultural norms.
The Cartoon Festival is a traditional drum and dance festival. The festival is purely for drumming and dancing. That's why it has the performance component of it, which is the festival performance. It has the workshop component of it, that is the drum classes, the dance classes. It has all those classes that professionals and people who are coming from the diaspora can come in and perform. That is why we are receiving this group from Cartoon, and it comprises almost like 4 professional master dancers who are among this group.
In Action Park, week of events at the Cartoon Festival is also expected to improve the areas of tourism and hospitality sector as the village continues to develop more products for holiday makers in the Gambia. Seydou Kamara, GRZ News.
We will take a first break now, and when you come back, we'll bring you the sports news.
From an early age, we value the feeling of speed, the thrill of the wind as we rush to our destinations, the feel of our feet bounding over the ground, the way the world blurs as we rush by, faster than a ray of light, I'm flying. I have one speed, I have one gear. Keep on moving, I won't stop till I get there. Want to experience speed? Then subscribe to the Gambia's only 4G LTE mobile network, QCell. With speeds of up to 45 megabytes per second, you can get online in the blink of an eye. The fastest browsing, stream videos faster, do much more faster. Just dial *335# to join the fastest club. QCell's 4G LTE mobile network. Go faster. For more information, call 111. QCell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow.
Tottenham scored 2 goals to win the Kuloro League final. The newly crowned champions defeated QCell FC 2-0 in the grand final that was witnessed by hundreds of spectators. Modu Laminsane has this report.
QCell FC have lost their crown as champions of Kuloro after they were beaten 2-0 by Tottenham in Saturday's league final. QCell FC began the game on the front foot in the early parts of the encounter. They dominated proceedings for only 15 minutes before losing control to their opponent. Tottenham took charge and pressed for the opening, which came shortly before half-time. Abdoulaye Jallow slotted a powerful free kick in the top corner of the net to give them the lead in the first half.
It is a wonderful goal!
Tottenham continued their dominance after the break and scored the second of the game 10 minutes into second half through Lamin Mane's header.
Goal!
The tie ended 2-0, and this was the first time Tottenham emerged winners of Kuloro Football Championship.
It's just a joy because as many people are saying that we are bad luck, but the only time to tell them that I prove them wrong because I believe in Almighty Allah, and in football I never give up. So that's why you can see the entire community is excited. Yes, and we work for it and we deserve it.
We came here on the way to win, unfortunately we couldn't make it. So, but it's normal, you can understand. Because from the starting we are struggling. We do not even imagine that we will be end of the day coming to play in this final. So we take the chances. My boys cannot take the chances in the first half. So these people, they capitalize. They happen to win.
but it's not a bad game for us. We lose, it's a finalist, but not a bad game to us.
It was a successful season for the committee, and the fans had an enjoyable evening.
This time when I came in, I want to see today that I focus on development. That is to fence the entire field. Because it's a place where young people admire to come and then play their game. Even the district tournament, they prefer to play most of their games in this ground here. So in order for us to secure that, we have to fence, we have to do development. And for sure, I can promise you, in next 2 months, if you come, you will make this premises fence.
Outstanding players and teams were awarded, while the champions celebrated their giant trophy through the night. Reporting for GRTS Sports, I am Mudlamin Sane.
We will now take a second break.
I'm G, and I'm in Bruce Lee right now. I use AfriCell 4G because it has the fastest speed and the widest coverage. I'm going to show you why I choose AfriCell. This is my phone. It has a real 4G SIM card from AfriCell. And here's the same exact phone with another 4G SIM card from a different network. Let's do a speed test. Wow! I'm getting full coverage with my AfriCell. That reads 80.4 Mbps, and this one is getting like 13.65. This is proof that AfriCell by far has the fastest speed and the widest coverage.
So hurry and go replace your AfriCell SIM card with the real 4G SIM card.
Where AfriCell goes, no one has the speed to follow.
Amid the ongoing water crisis in the city of Cape Town, some residents are taking their grievances to the streets. They are protesting against what they are calling the mismanagement of water resources. CGTN's Rene Delcam reports.
Addressing the Cape Town Press Club, South Africa's National Water and Sanitation Minister, Nomvula Mokonyane, said her department had prevented the loss of life during devastating drought conditions in other parts of the country in 2014.
The immediate that we are doing is to unite South Africans around more efficient water use and make everybody to appreciate the effects of climate change. We therefore need to ensure that even here in the city of Cape Town, water users must be provided with more information on how to save water, especially at household level, given that 70% of water is being used by domestic consumers.
Minister Mokonyane, whose first name, Nomvula, means the mother of rain in Zulu, said there was no substitute for water, and it knew no ideology. Despite deep divisions between the ANC-run national government and the Democratic Alliance-run city of Cape Town, the minister said the water crisis needed to be depoliticized.
We need to ensure that there is water for all and not only water for some, because water is a constitutional right. We must allay the fears of South Africans, and I can stand here as a fellow South African and say day zero can be avoided.
Meanwhile, a group of Cape Townians calling themselves the Cape Town Water Crisis Coalition say they've had enough of what they refer to as the political mismanagement of Cape Town's water crisis. Most people here say they do not believe what the politicians have to say about the drought, and say they cannot believe that a world-class city such as Cape Town was allowed to run out of water.
It is actually a catastrophe of colossal proportions. The city that says the tagline is the best-run city with no water, those two things don't work in the same sentence. And it is a failure of the officials, it is a failure of the city's government, it is a failure of the Western Cape. We don't actually know what the cost of this is going to be, and they still don't have a plan. They have to stop lying.
The minister will meet with Cape Town city officials again on Tuesday to continue working on ways to prevent Cape Town's worst drought from turning into a disaster. Rene Delcam, CGTN, Cape Town, South Africa.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. The Vice President has joined fellow African leaders for the 30th Ordinary Session of the African Union Summit. The new head of the Gambia's Catholic Church, Reverend Bishop Gabriel Mendy, says his appointment marks an important moment for the Catholic community. Residents of Cape Town have been protesting against alleged mismanagement of water resources amid ongoing water crisis. And the African Union has planned an extraordinary summit in Rwanda to sign the legal instruments to establish the Continental Free Trade. That was all in this edition of the news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. I'm Isa Jallo. Have a good night.